The world economy runs on something smaller than a grain of sand. Tiny silicon chips, invisible, fragile, and almost all of them come from one island. Taiwan, an island sitting just 100 miles from China, an island constantly surrounded by military drills, fighter jets, and warships, an island that manufactures the brains inside nearly every modern machine on Earth: your phone, your laptop, artificial intelligence, electric cars, banking systems, satellites, missiles. If Taiwan's semiconductor factories stop, the modern world doesn't slow down. It freezes, and Taiwan knows it. That's why, while the world watches tensions rise in the Taiwan Strait, something quieter is happening far away from the headlines. Hundreds of miles south in the industrial zones of Thailand, a silent transformation is underway. Factories are expanding, supply chains are relocating, Taiwanese companies are building new production networks, governments are offering incentives, investors are pouring in billions. It looks like ordinary industrial growth, but underneath it, Taiwan may be building a backup plan for the most important industry on Earth. Because in the 21st century, oil is no longer the world's most strategic resource. Chips are, and the race to protect them has already begun. For decades, Taiwan achieved something almost impossible. It became the center of the digital universe, not because it was large, not because it had massive natural resources, but because it mastered the most difficult manufacturing process humanity has ever created: semiconductors. Making advanced chips isn't like building cars or assembling smartphones. It requires atomic-level precision, factories cleaner than operating rooms, machines so advanced they cost hundreds of millions of dollars each. One microscopic error can destroy an entire production batch, and no company mastered this process better than Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, better known as TSMC. TSMC didn't just become another tech company. It became the factory behind the world's biggest powers. Apple depends on it, Nvidia depends on it, AMD depends on it. Even the military systems of the United States rely on chips connected to Taiwan's supply chain. By some estimates, Taiwan produces the majority of the world's most advanced semiconductors. That concentration created extraordinary wealth, but it also created extraordinary danger, because the entire modern economy became dependent on one geographic location, sitting directly inside one of the world's most dangerous geopolitical fault lines. For years, that risk felt theoretical. Then the world changed. The COVID pandemic exposed how fragile global supply chains really were. Factories shut down, shipping collapsed, car companies halted production because they couldn't get chips. Then came the escalation between China and the United States: trade wars, technology bans, sanctions, military exercises near Taiwan. Suddenly, governments and corporations began asking the same terrifying question: what happens if Taiwan becomes inaccessible? Not destroyed, not invaded, just interrupted. Even a temporary blockade around Taiwan could send shockwaves across the planet. Smartphone production could collapse, AI development could slow dramatically, automobile factories could shut down within weeks, financial markets could panic. The world had accidentally built a single point of failure into the center of modern civilization, and Taiwan understood that better than anyone else, which is why Taiwanese companies quietly began searching for alternatives. Not replacements, backups, insurance policies against geopolitical disaster. Some expansion moved toward the United States, some toward Japan, but increasingly, attention started turning towards Southeast Asia. A region once known mainly for low-cost manufacturing was suddenly becoming strategically critical to the future of global technology. And one country in particular began standing out: Thailand. At first glance, Thailand seems like an unlikely player in the semiconductor war. It's globally famous for tourism, food, and automotive manufacturing, not advanced chips. But beneath the surface, Thailand has been quietly preparing for a technological transformation for years. The country already possesses major industrial infrastructure, strong export networks, established electronics manufacturing, deep connections to Asian supply chains, and most importantly, Thailand sits far enough from the Taiwan Strait to offer something priceless: distance from geopolitical risk. As tensions around Taiwan intensified, Thai officials saw an opportunity. If the world wanted safer supply chains, if companies wanted diversification, if investors wanted stability, Thailand could position itself as the region's next strategic manufacturing hub. So Bangkok accelerated incentives. Industrial parks expanded. Foreign tech investment surged. Taiwanese suppliers started arriving, not always with massive headlines, not always with global attention, but piece by piece, the ecosystem began forming: chip packaging, electronics assembly, precision manufacturing, data infrastructure, high-tech industrial support systems. A parallel network, not yet capable of replacing Taiwan, but potentially capable of keeping parts of the global economy alive if crisis erupts in East Asia. And that changes everything, because this is no longer just about economics, it's about survival. The semiconductor industry has become the nervous system of modern civilization. Whoever controls the chips controls the future, and whoever secures the supply chains may control the next era of global power. That's why Southeast Asia is rapidly becoming the new geopolitical frontier, not through invasions, not through armies, but through factories, infrastructure, investment, and technology. But this isn't just Taiwan's strategy. It's part of a much bigger global race, because every major power now understands the same terrifying reality. Modern civilization depends on semiconductors. Without chips, economies stop functioning, banks freeze, factories shut down, AI systems collapse, even advanced militaries struggle to operate. That's why the chip war has become one of the most important geopolitical conflicts of the 21st century. The United States is pouring billions into domestic semiconductor production. China is racing to reduce its dependence on foreign technology. Japan and South Korea are expanding their own chip industries. And across Southeast Asia, countries are competing to become the next strategic manufacturing hub before the next global crisis arrives. But Thailand may hold a unique advantage. Unlike Taiwan, it sits farther from the center of rising military tensions. Unlike China, it faces fewer technology restrictions from the West. And unlike some neighboring countries, Thailand already has a mature industrial base connected to global manufacturing networks. That combination is attracting attention from investors, governments, and tech companies searching for safer alternatives. The transformation is already reshaping Thailand's economy. New industrial parks are emerging. Infrastructure projects are accelerating. Foreign capital is flowing into high-tech manufacturing. For Thailand, this is more than economic growth. It's an opportunity to climb the global technological ladder. For decades, many Southeast Asian economies were seen mainly as low-cost manufacturing centers. Now they want something bigger: control over critical technology supply chains. Because in today's world, supply chains are power, and Taiwan's quiet expansion into Southeast Asia reveals something deeper about the future of globalization itself. The old model, where the world depended on one massive production center, is starting to break apart. Governments no longer trust concentrated supply chains. Corporations fear geopolitical disruption. Investors fear another global shutdown. So the world is fragmenting into regional manufacturing networks designed for resilience instead of maximum efficiency. And Southeast Asia is becoming one of the most important pieces of that transformation. But even as factories expand in Thailand, one reality remains unavoidable: Taiwan is still irreplaceable. The island's semiconductor ecosystem took decades to build. Its engineering expertise, supplier networks, and advanced manufacturing capabilities cannot simply be copied overnight, which means the world is now trapped in a dangerous transition period. Too dependent on Taiwan to function without it, yet too aware of the risks to keep everything there. That's the real reason Taiwan's Plan B matters. It's not about replacing the island, it's about buying time. Time for companies to diversify, time for governments to prepare, time for the global economy to survive a future crisis that many fear is no longer unthinkable. Because while the world focuses on warships and military drills around Taiwan, the real battle may already be happening inside factories, supply chains, and industrial zones across Southeast Asia. A silent race to secure the technology that powers modern civilization. And if the next global crisis begins in the Taiwan Strait, the future of the world economy may depend on places like Thailand,